Good evening, everybody. It is 7 o'clock on Monday, November 16th. I'm going to call the meeting of the Village Board of Trustees to order. Please all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. A roll call, please.
Bartholomew?
Here.
Edwards?
Here.
Fowler? Absent. Hart?
Here.
Poznansky?
Here.
Seidel?
Here.
Malzahn?
Here. Great.
We have 6 present.
You have 2 sets of minutes in your packet. You have the special meeting minutes, and then you have the meeting for October 19th. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes for October 19th?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Hart,
Support.
support by Edwards. Discussion?
Just one note that I had under special presentation, item number 6, it says Romeo Schools, Tad Robinson presentation, that they would read that you read his letter.
Anything else?
I do have one. 12, last page, under new business B, it has that no board action was taken. I believe we did make a motion there.
For the Open Meetings Act? I know we had some discussion about how we were going to have our meetings. We were going to bring together I was asked to bring a proposal back if there was going to be any cost involved in having the rooms, 2 rooms. We did purchase a Roku, that was it. Parks and Rec had a TV monitor, so that's, the gold room is set up tonight.
Yeah,
So-
but we ratified that resolution there. Remember, since the governor's orders were not, they were seen as,
Oh, we reaffirmed all of our action, so it wasn't Bill 11, yes, okay, you're correct, we did.
thank you.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that so I can write that
Yes.
down?
So the resolution that Mark drafted for us, that basically made it retroactive for approval of all of our actions back onto, I don't want to say it was March 31st or March 20, yeah. I'd have
Whenever
to
her
check the date,
orders.
but we did vote to approve
Okay.
that resolution.
All right, okay.
So just
That
check
will be
the minutes
updated.
and see. I think it was all support, but we'll have to check the record. Thanks for catching that, Megan. Anything else? All right, so we have a motion by Hart, we have support by Edwards. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, then you have the meeting minutes from November 2nd for our special meeting. Get a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve the November 2nd meeting.
Okay, we have a motion by Bartholomew,
Support.
support by Poznansky. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, in your packet, you have the sets of bills. You have a check register report, $185,444.19. And then you have the vendor list, $68,766.34. A motion to approve the bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
We have a motion by Edwards. We have support.
Support.
Support by Poznansky. Discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Edwards?
Yes.
Poznansky?
Yes.
Seidel?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
President Malzahn?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, the approval of the agenda. I would just like to strike number 8, public forum for agenda items only. We'll probably just keep that off as long as we're in the 2-room situation, so that it gives just one, point in time where we'll stop the meeting, and then we'll make sure if there's anybody in the overflow room or the public room that they can come over. So at this time, I'd just like to strike number 8. Any other amendments? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda then with that one change?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Hart. We have support
Support?
by Bartholomew. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have no special presentations. We have no correspondence. Officer reports. My president's report for November 16th. As of today, Romeo has had 101 reported cases, with deaths reported at 7, which is up. At the last time I reported this in September, we had 7 cases, and 4 deaths. So significant uptick in case count here in Romeo. There are 107 cases in Bruce Township with 6 deaths, and 661 cases, 9 deaths in Washington Township. So significant changes here. Due to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services restrictions on public gatherings, all Romeo public meetings will be held remotely on Zoom for the month of December or postponed until in-person meetings are allowed. Please see the meetings notices for login information. Beginning tomorrow morning, Tuesday, November 17th, all village office buildings are open by appointment only. All who enter are required to wear a face mask. We've posted all the phone numbers on the door. They're available on our website. If anybody needs an appointment or any business conducted, please just give us a call and we'll try and facilitate a convenient time for everybody. Whoever can work from home is working from home. We had several employees who have taken their computers and they are going to work from home for the next 3 weeks per those guidelines. But Cindy, the clerk, the treasurer, we'll all have time when we'll be available to meet with the public if they have business to do. The Village of Romeo has received a very generous 50,000 face mask donation by Ford Motor Company. Those masks were produced in the Ford Sterling Heights facility. If any organization or household is in need of a supply, please contact the office and let us know. For resident convenience, we have assembled small baggies of masks. They look like this. There's probably about 25 or so in here in plastic bags, and we've put a plastic container right out by the drop box. So limit 1 per household, but you can feel free to grab one on your way by, or if you need one, if you have an organization that requires a larger supply of them, please let us know, and we're going to try and make arrangements for some drop-off. So we'll get them to Parks and Rec. We have some churches that have already reached out to us that are in need of some. So we have plenty to go around. There's actually 2 pallets full out of the DPW.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
and they're nice and soft. They have the little Ford logo in the corner.
I'm wearing
so.
one. They're pretty comfortable.
Yes. So thank you, Ford Motor Company, for that.
Cover a lot.
Attorney Clark and I attended a Zoom meeting on October 29th, an update with the representatives from Ford regarding the Romeo engine plant status. They are still online to shut down that facility the end of 2022. There has been no change in their timeline as of right now. I did present them with a proposal for consideration to make their exit from our community less of an impact to our financial stability. We've scheduled another Zoom meeting for the end of the year or January to circle back around and see how that was received. Clerk Trapp, Treasurer Maddox, Accountant Tim Sadowski, myself attended a Zoom meeting with our auditors from UHY to receive the initial audit report. I'm very pleased to report that the village is in excellent financial shape. Paul Bailey plans to attend our December meeting to give the residents and council their full report. You probably already received a pre-audit communication letter in your mailbox. I think he mails those out, but the full report is forthcoming. Work has begun between Northern Pump and Well and Eagle on the emergency replacement well. It'll take a few months for the permits to be approved at this point, but hopefully the new well will be up and functioning by June. I continue to field calls from interested parties regarding our marijuana business ordinance and the application process. I have not opened the application period yet due to some additional research and possible changes needed regarding the special land use scenario that we incorporated into our ordinance and the current HIPAA laws. I've asked legal counsel to investigate this further and make sure that the ordinance is in compliance with those laws. So we're doing that work. I'd like to congratulate our 3 elected trustees on winning their seats, Trustee Poznanski, Trustee Bartholomew, and Justin Parker. I hope together we can continue to serve our residents well. I'm sure that we can. I'd like to thank Trustee Seidel for his years of service to this community. It was an honor and a privilege to work alongside you, sir. Your presence and business skills will certainly be missed.
Thank you.
That concludes my report. Clerk Trapp?
The cemetery roof replacement is complete. We're just waiting on the gutters, and the garage got a new coat of paint. We can now store all of our lawn equipment without worrying if the roof is going to collapse or leak over the winter. And Santa's mailbox will be coming to the Village of Romeo sometime early next week, right before Thanksgiving. Santa has asked that I ask all the trustees if he could use your help with all of the letters that come in. He will need all the help he can get assisting in answering the letters. Or anybody else who's interested can contact me at the Village Hall. The box will be out until approximately Friday, December 18th. So it's that time of year. And that's all I have.
Perfect. Treasurer Maddox.
We received from Macomb County tax settlement for delinquent tax, and the amount was $178,000. That concludes my treasure report, and I'm open to any questions that any one of you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee reports? Trustee Bartholomew?
No, we're good now. I would like to just take the opportunity to echo what you said to Randy. Thank you, Randy, for your service and bringing your expertise to this board. Thank you.
Trustee Poznanski?
No, I would just also like to thank Randy for his time here and the dedication to the people.
Trustee Edwards?
No, nothing really. Thank you, Randy, for your assistance in all the decisions. Thank you.
Mr. Hart?
With the fear of being redundant, thank you, Randy, for your service.
Well, I'll be
It's been a pleasure
redundant.
working with
I'll be
you.
redundant as well. Thank all of you for your assistance. It was a pleasure to serve both on the DDA and on the board. And congratulations, Megan, Nathan, and Justin for a job well done. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Excellent. Our ex officio planning commission member is absent tonight, so the only agenda item is further down on our new business, and so I'll update you in just a little bit on that. We have no committee reports at this time. We have no unfinished business. So we're going to move on to new business. Special events permit, our holiday tree lighting. Clara reached out to me a few weeks ago and asked for the roads to be closed, and I circled back today with the new restrictions. So the gathering is changing. They're planning, they're trying to figure out the best way to do this. At this point, we can only have 25 people gathered in the outside park. So they're anticipating doing a drive-through tree lighting, drive-through Santa. They're going to still have the streets closed. We're trying to just figure out a route that we can sort of keep the cars in the queue. They're going to assemble stations so that there'll still be hopefully a cookie station by the Lions, and then they'll hand in a bag of cookies into the car. There'll be a kids craft pack, they'll stop at the next station and they'll hand that in for however many participants are in the car. Santa should be there, it should be a nice wave, and then the tree, Christmas carolers, and the Parks and Rec is working very hard to really sort of bling up our park this year. So hopefully, I'm sure it won't be like Detroit Zoo or the DTE, drive-through, but they're going to do our best to make it as festive as possible. So they are looking to still have the streets closed, the special event permit that you have, Newberry and Rawls, so it'll just be from Van Dyke and then to 32 Mile Road, just that little L. So,
I think it's great.
I mean, we're still trying to do something, whatever
Right,
we
I think
can.
it's amazing.
Ray Township unfortunately canceled their tree lighting ceremony. I think they're still going to try and have one in Washington, but again, they're trying to figure out how that they can facilitate some sort of, lighting ceremony with very few people in attendance. I don't know how you do that, but
I think
they're
any-
putting their thinking caps on, and I'll update, through an email or a text if there's any information that changes. But for right now, we know that we still want to just close those streets. So if I could get a motion to approve those street closures.
I'll make the motion that we approve the street closures there.
Support.
We have support by Poznanski. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Al, up here, the man who wants money.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So, when sewage first comes into the wastewater plant, there is a grinder that grinds up any debris that comes in, and then there is a auger that takes that out of the way and dumps it into a bin, and then we throw that into the garbage. Well, we lost the gearbox on that auger, and we've been waiting for a couple months for the manufacturer to come out and to look at it and tell us what we needed. And in the meantime, we've had quite a bit of debris get through. We've several pumps have gotten plugged up, and we've spent a lot of man hours unplugging these pumps. So when they finally told us what we needed, there's a couple pictures here. I asked Christine if we could just go ahead and do it to get it done before winter, and she grudgingly said yes. If you look at this, these are the pictures of if you see the shaft there, you can see how tore up the shaft is, and you can see this side is tore up as well. Then also the pumps that we bought a few months ago, when we bought those originally, we thought that we could put those in without having to have to go in the tanks. We were wrong. It seems someone had to go in the tank, pull a confined space entry permit, cut out some pipes, put in some new piping. I decided that I didn't want my guys to do that. So I asked, again, Christine, if I could get that done so we could have it done before winter. Those are the two things that I asked her for. And let's see, the install on the gearbox is December 8th. And on the pump installs, we already got those installed. We were lucky. We asked when we did because they had an opening, and they were out within 2 weeks and installed those pumps for us. So it was really important that we get those done before winter.
So basically, you have these two approvals that I already approved. One is already installed, and he already purchased the other one, but I was still having him follow up with you all to let you know why and what the time frame considerations were with the weather. So it's still like a formal motion and approval for his two repairs. The Kerr pump and supply was $4,610. And then the shaft assembly install was, or the gearbox, $6,063.38.
Make a motion that we move forward with purchasing or having this done.
Support.
A motion by Bartholomew. We have support by Hart. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes.
Seidel?
Yes.
President Melzan?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Do you want me to stay up here for the letter?
You can. Yep, you can. Do you have anything that you wanted to address on it, or?
If on the third paragraph, he talks about the commutator needs repair. That's the auger gearbox. And he also talks about the standby generator needing replacement. I think we've talked about that. That is a long-term thing we have to start putting money away from, because that is probably $300,000
Cost.
a lot of money. So that is a
right.
350 kilowatt generator, that's 350,000 watts, and it's a 12-cylinder diesel engine, so it's very expensive.
So this year, when you and I sit down to help draft the wastewater treatment plant budget, before we sit down and present it here to council, let's go over that and figure out how we can best get an asset management plan and some savings earmarked for that repair.
We have some. In the asset management plan, they actually put it at $600,000 to repair it because the motor is inside. What we want to do, and they would have to actually tear the roof off and do all that. What we want to do is we want to buy one, put it on a pad outside, and that should save us probably at least half. So that's one of the things that we want to do.
And our weather won't damper that, I'm assuming.
No,
Okay.
it's an all-weather one.
Okay.
When you guys sit down, are you doing like an estimated time to failure on some of this stuff? I mean, you're looking
Sorry,
at
I
some.
can't hear you very well.
When you guys sit down and talk, are you doing like an estimated time of failure to some of this equipment? You guys know like forecast when you.
Well, that's what they
life
did with the asset
expectancy?
management plan.
Okay, so that would all be incorporated into this?
We talked about it. That is That generator is 40 years old, it was put in 1980. And we can't get parts for it no more.
Understood.
So if, we'd have to actually, some of the stuff we could actually have made, like say if the radiator went, but that would take months, and we would have to have a standby generator brought in and we'd rent it that whole time. So, yeah, that would be expensive.
Yeah, these are key funding issues that need to be
Anyways, other than that,
forecasted long
the
range.
inspection went well. This is our, we've had 2 inspections this year. One was from the biosolids folks, and that went well as well, and you'll probably see a letter on that.
Perfect. Yeah.
Thanks, Al.
Thought the letter was very complimentary. You know, obviously our wastewater treatment plant is being well maintained and cared for by Al and his staff. I've asked him, once COVID restrictions are lifted and we can actually meet, I'd love to schedule some public tours of that facility. The trustees, you know, I had not been over there until I took office as president. It's, you know, fascinating, believe it or not, just to see that asset, you know, working and how complex it is. So hopefully we can do that maybe in the summertime and generate maybe 1 or 2 walk-through tours so everybody can actually see what we own here, so.
It's been a long time since we've done that.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. I remember doing it, but it's been a long time.
Yep. So,
Thanks,
but
Al.
everything over there is in tip shape, so we're good with the inspections. The utility bills format newsletter, I know that you don't have any information in your news packet. I wanted to just throw this out here for some input from the board about changing up the format for our utility bills. You know, right now we do it postcard style. There's this, you know, fixed cost. It's about $795 for the postcard and the postage every billing cycle to mail that out. But there's been a lot of discussion lately with getting information out to our residents and how can we best facilitate that. And my thought was just to offer a change up of that billing structure to go to more of a paper and an envelope that would allow us to put a quarterly newsletter in the envelope with it and be mailed out to the residents. I don't know if what the content would necessarily be on that, if it would just be like an update. I don't know if that's, we publish our minutes there. I don't know really what that scope of work would be, but I thought in an effort to at least do a reach out and get more information in the hands of our residents, that might be an option. But it will significantly increase the quarterly cost. From $795, you're looking to about $1,400 a month, a quarter to do that. By the time you pay for the envelopes, the extra postage, because you don't go to the postcard rate, you have to go to a first class. It's still a bulk rate, but there's still a significant uptick in the cost for the papers, and that's utilizing Pilgrim printing to copy and insert all those. We would still need to purchase some software so that we could properly design a newsletter that would be sent out. But I'd like some input, some thoughts. If you think that's a good idea, you want me to put together a more formal proposal, I can bring it back. I wanted to just briefly answer, Megan posed a question to me about the utility billing. Sorry I didn't get back to you, but I wanted to do a little research and make sure that I understood exactly where we stood with that. So Trustee Poznanski asked for clarification on a statement that I made at our special meeting that, the utility rates would be effective January or the beginning of the year. And she wanted clarification because her understanding, and when she reread the motion, said that we were deferring those rates until the beginning of the year. So I watched the meeting. I reached out to Trustee Hart, who actually made the motion for clarification. It was my intent when we deferred that it would be the January billing cycle when those rates would be applied, but I understand how the motion read, and it might create some confusion. So I'm suggesting that we can hold those and begin that rate. December 16th is actually when the new rate would take effect. So they would not see that until their March bill. So the rates will hold it till the end of the year, as you were under the assumption that we were going to do. And then the first bill for the year, not the first bill they receive, because that bill comes out January 1st. So that will still be with the old rates, but the new rates would take effect December 16th. So I think I told them just to hold that, because I think that's what Trustee Hart suggested, that when we looked at the wording,
Yeah, that was my understanding.
yeah, so
Thank you.
that's what we're going to do. So my thought was, if we're going to do this newsletter, that we would also start it when those new rates take effect. One, we could incorporate our asset management plan and an understanding of really why that rate was put in place, some of the history of why we voted to do that and what those funds are being used for at the same time that they get the bill. Because there will be an increase. We all know there's going to be an increase to those rates, but an explanation might, soften it, right, and so that they understand that. But
Now,
it's more money to do that.
were the rates and how you did that, do you need to do it quarterly, or would it be as-needed basis, or maybe every 6 months to do a newsletter?
Well, we don't have to
How
do the
often?
newsletter every quarter, but once we change the format, because, excuse me, I wish I had some water. Just changing the format will probably confuse a lot of residents, because it's just not what they're used to. So we would need to just sort of educate, prep, do a PSA, get the word out there that your utility bill this time is going to be different. Might be on a colored piece of paper, going to be in an envelope with the window on it, much like your tax bills. But we won't be able to switch back and forth. So if we're going to make the change, then it's going to be the paper format in an envelope from here on out until somebody decides that we're going to do a different format.
Is the 1,400 including a newsletter, actually printing a newsletter?
No.
That's just,
Right, that's just for the utility bills and the cost of the envelope.
just from what I'm hearing on this, I would think we keep the format the way it is, and then if we want to send a newsletter out, send a newsletter and mail that as a separate newsletter.
Well, even if we did an every door direct mail piece, I know the postage alone for an every door mail piece is about $400 to do the village, $360 or so to do all 1,800. So, and then you still have the cost of the piece. So it'll be more if we decide to do two separate than if we were
If
just.
it went every quarter.
Yeah, but if we
it's
did it like
600 if it's
twice a
600
year, I think
quarter.
it's kind of more, you're thinking like not do it as often, like maybe once or twice a year instead, and then that's kind of cutting down a bit of cost, but still getting info out.
Because this would add $600 a quarter whether we needed a newsletter or not. So if you did it, because sometimes maybe every 6 months or, when there is something that we would do it, we would use that same money to go out that when we need it. That's just my thought.
I'm getting a lot of residents that want a newsletter. Sometimes they don't always watch the meetings, and then, especially when I was working on the sidewalks and that, I was talking to a lot of people, and they would ask me a question about something, and I would think right away, well, we just talked about that at our last meeting, and I would explain that to them, and they'd say, but it'd be nice if we had a newsletter that we could just get periodically so that we could get up to speed on the things that are going on. So that's what I'm hearing.
And my thought was that it wouldn't just be stuff that has already happened. It would be
Could be
forward-thinking
future,
stuff too, stuff to anticipate.
Sure.
Budgets are coming up, these are the budget workshop meetings, just to get that information out there in advance. But again, it's more work for the village staff, and it's certainly more cost. But if there's a need, if there's a lag in the information, I'm looking for suggestions on how to best, keep everybody informed and up to date.
Is there anything that we could do with Parks and Rec? Because they still do they do twice a year, right? Every 6 months?
I think they do it 3 times a year,
Oh, yeah.
but they have not done, they just did a small little mini one. I don't know what their long-term goals are as far as publishing that.
Would you like to do a subcommittee to help out with the hours that it would take to put it into order? Because I would volunteer time to help with the project.
And that's fine. I appreciate that. I'm just more concerned right now about the cost, because cost is going to be there. Although if we were going to do that and we were going to publish the minutes, we wouldn't have to put them in a newspaper. If we were literally going to draft them as part of that newsletter, we could probably save some money on our publications that way, because we don't have to publish them. There are people that was requested that they get them in writing because they're not
So you do
online.
3 months at a time? The last 3 months? I mean, if we're going to have cost savings of publications and things, then I guess that's some things to consider. Otherwise, I'm seeing just the format change is $2,400.
So you'd be like sticking all the meeting minutes in there?
Well, it's
Like-
not 20, it's about double. It's about double, not quite double the cost to go from the postcard style to the mail. Right.
Yeah, 'cause-
600
yeah.
a quarter. so
Just
that's
these
roughly
meeting minutes for this
2,400.
month, past month were what, 3 or 4 pages? And if we do multiple months, even if we double side,
Yeah,
you're
you'd
looking
be
at a pretty
sending
big
out a
envelope.
manila envelope.
I don't know that we would need to incorporate like all the reports.
Okay, so
like,
you're
you
saying
know.
that what you would have put in the paper is what we would put in there?
That's just my thought.
Okay.
I don't know that they would probably even read the president's report or if anybody really even cares about it. So I'm not worried about, that, but the business of, motions that are really affecting them is what I would think we could pare down.
online?
Yeah, but we have a lot of residents that just don't reach
Don't
out
do that?
online. Yeah.
Yeah. So even if we don't, take any board action tonight, just, this is what I'm kicking about. If we were going to start something, again, I would think we would start it when the new rates come out. So we've got, a couple of months to try and figure this out. So maybe get some feedback, think about it. If you think it's worth pursuing a newsletter, whether we do it separate.
Doesn't
or-
Washington Township do something sort of like this?
Sorry, who?
Washington Township?
I don't think so. Ray Township sends out a quarterly newsletter.
I know I get
one-page-
some sort of extra info in my envelope from Washington. I
With your utility bill? Or just a mailer?
think my taxes, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Right,
more
'cause-
communication is good.
Right.
You could always request if
And
they
they're
want a
asking
hard
for it.
copy that you could put them on a distribution instead of putting everybody on the mailer.
Right.
Because if 10% of the residents don't do emails, then you could send 10% out instead of 100%.
Right now, we don't maintain or capture any sort of email,
Well, maybe we could do that.
email
Well, you could do
base.
that, and
So
that
we
would-
could start an email
Well, not
blast,
email,
but.
but it's posted already, so the ones that don't have access to the posted one could get a hard copy in the mail. Everyone
Yeah.
else could just,
Or if we made it known that it was in, because there's other publications that are around town just sitting in, I know right now we're not going out to restaurants, but there are times when they're just sitting around and people grab things on the, from the office, from the bench there, or at the bank when you go in. Could be something we could even just put a few stacks around town in significant spots. When that comes back, I suppose.
All right.
Yeah, we don't actually have like a kiosk or
Yeah.
anything like that that you could nail it up to, kind of.
Well, we do have the new bulletin board that's outside the door, out here, so you will see our agendas, and so we could post it there. I don't know how many people
Yeah, but not that-
actually
yeah.
come up and read such a thing.
come there.
Obviously, the windows are typically full at the village offices with all sorts of information that we try and get out, but not everybody walks by. So, again, I'm just throwing out an option of what we could do, so.
Good option.
Okay, so, do we want to just table this for another
Yeah,
date? We can maybe talk about it at our goals and objectives.
Definitely a good idea,
Okay,
something
and
to
if
move
you
forward.
have any other input, if people are saying, hey, I want a newsletter, we can look at the live stream feed from the Facebook meeting tonight, and maybe people are saying that we want one, and we'll go from there. All right, the last item under new business is the Delora Dental new parking lot site plan approval. I did not attend the Planning Commission meeting, and unfortunately, Mr. Fowler isn't here tonight, but they entertained this change to Delora Dental. If everybody hasn't driven by or know, it's the building that's adjacent to Culligan's down on Van Dyke. So they need to get some more parking. So the Planning Commission approved with provisions this site plan approval. They changed it just a bit from their discussion, which is the map that you have in front of you, to make the entranceway off of Van Dyke one-way, which obviously would make the parallel parking that you see in the drawing have to go the other way. Because originally it was supposed to be a two-way parking, and we thought it would potentially be too odd of a turn radius as close to the Durham Street corner as it is. So we made it one way in, and then at the out, do you see the two little black arrows back and forth behind the building?
Oh, yeah.
On your map? So the property line, there's a small thin line, that would be the out. So the parking lot would be one way, coming in off of Van Dyke, going to the small alleyway that runs behind Culligan, and they would have to exit out to Durham. and then go back up to the corner to either go north or south, or I guess they could go west on Durham and get over to Sisson. But we have to approve this site plan based on the Planning Commission's recommendation, which is to approve the site plan provisionally with the change making it one way. Dr. DeLaura is in the process of having new renderings made with those changes. He did not have them completed for me as of 4 o'clock today to bring you something different. So we can approve it, again, provisionally with the changes that I've talked about tonight. We can table it if you're more comfortable actually seeing the drawing until he gets us the drawing, and I can bring it back to you.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve this plan per the Planning Commission's changes.
Okay, so we have a motion by Edwards,
Support.
support by Poznanski. Any other discussion?
I'm just asking for clarification on, are they going to be moving it and going into the easement? Is that where the red is? They're going to be changing, like, how their property is? They're expanding the width there?
It's the elevation. There's quite a grade difference there, and so, right, they're coming more into the landscaping. They're not actually coming into Durham Street, per se.
So they aren't going
Right,
into
no.
your property? Okay.
They
That's
are
my
not.
question.
Right.
And
Okay,
they approved it in the planning commission, so.
yes. Okay, so do you have a clear motion? I just want to make sure.
I think so. Edwards made a motion to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation. I know that's not exactly how you worded it.
Well, to approve the parking lot, I guess how did I put that? To approve the parking lot reconstruction or
Site plan?
the site plan per the Planning Commission's suggestions.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Okay, so at this time, we have public comments. So I don't know if we have any public, would you mind running over there, Nathan? Gathered in the Gold Room. That's how we're going to set these meetings up. While Nathan is going to go make sure there isn't anybody who wants to walk over to offer public comments, I just wanted to briefly have a conversation about December's meeting. We don't know. The restrictions right now are in place for the next 3 weeks. We don't know if they're going to be extended or not. We have this weird timing of the Open Meetings Act that says we can only meet remotely through December 31st, but yet the health department is saying we can only have 10 people from 2 families in 1 room or 25 people outside. So I don't know how we can meet in December at this point. There was some discussion of not having any remote meetings. People didn't like Zoom meetings, but we may not have any choice.
Yeah.
I'd like to get your input on if we don't have any time-sensitive agenda items for December, if we can just cancel December's meeting and meet January 19th would be the next scheduled meeting. It's a Tuesday, by the way, because of President's Day, so the next meeting in January is a Tuesday, not a Monday. Or we can have it remotely, whatever we have to do, business items December,
My
which is the 21st.
suggestion would be to do it remotely by Zoom. I mean, it might not be the best answer, but I think it's just about the only answer you've got.
Which we can do that in December yet. We can still have a 1 remote and then see if the legislators all get together with the health department and figure out how municipalities are supposed to hold these meetings.
How are they going to hold their own meetings?
I have no idea.
I mean, that's going to find out real quick there's an issue. They won't even be able to meet as an assembly.
Right, I mean, they may have a much bigger room. I don't know how they're doing that, but the Planning Commission and the HDC, they will all meet remote if they have any agenda items. Or right now, December is typically kind of a slow season for everybody, so they may not, they'll just pick it up in January, but.
Are we required to approve the bills on a monthly basis, or can that actually go 60 days? There's nothing, if we don't have a meeting?
If we have, if I have the authorization to cancel the meeting because we have them posted, that would be part of the provision, the state of emergency declaration that we all passed in March was to give the authority that the bills could be paid, and then the documentation follow-up came to you even though it was after the fact. So the same scenario would sort of happen for December if we decided that we weren't going to have the meeting, but.
Okay, I was watching myself on television because there's a little bit of a delay, so.
Okay. Your hair looks good today, but yeah.
But Janice Fowler would like to mention, she didn't want to come over here, but she wanted to mention that the DPW workers at the end of their street where they live, they raked all the leaves out of the ditch, brought them up to the leaf vac, something she's never seen them do before, and she just wanted to say she really appreciated that.
Yeah, no, they've done a great job with the leaves.
Yes, they have
The
been.
weather's been cooperating too.
Yeah, they've been right on top of it, big time.
Well, having two has made a huge difference because they patched together the old one enough to keep it running, and people have been very good about not putting pumpkins, gourds, and sticks in there that seems to aggravate that equipment. So having two of them, piggybacking, and yes, the weather, the leaves all seem to have fallen at a convenient, pace, so that.
And it didn't snow yet.
And it didn't
Well,
snow.
but enough to,
Yes, so, good, I'm glad. And yes, they'll keep vacuuming up the leaves until the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, right? So next Wednesday,
Friday.
correct?
The Friday after Thanksgiving, 27th?
The Friday after Thanksgiving will be the last leaf vac day.
That is correct.
Okay, perfect.
27th.
Okay, so get them all raked out, although it's supposed to snow tonight, so we'll see what's going to happen.
Christine, I do have two questions, if I could ask. One was the RFPs for the legal and the audit. It's been a couple months since they were turned in. Where are we with that? When will we see them?
I have them right now slated for the December meeting on my whiteboard. They're analyzing all the data and trying to put together an Excel spreadsheet. What we didn't take into account when we sent out the RFPs was requesting board copies of saying we wanted 11 copies of everybody. So they all have to be scanned in and copies made so that each one of you can get a copy. And I'm not sure if we were going to ask for approval to do that digitally or if you want all paper copies.
Digital will be fine with me.
Yeah, digital.
Okay. I mean, you'll have the summary,
Yes.
right? You'll have the summary, but if we just scanned them in and emailed all those finals out, then you could review them on your computer?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's good. What's your second question?
My second question was, at the end of last month's meeting, we forgot to read a couple of resident letters. If we could read them now?
I reached out to both of those. We posted the one on our Facebook page, and we made contact with them, and the other one I reached out to, and I have not heard back from her. I offered to read it for this month's meeting if she still thought that her questions were unanswered, so.
Okay.
Yep.
That was my
Anything
questions.
else? All right, then motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
7:43. All right. Thank you, everybody.